Hey there, people! So today I am finally bringing you my all Terraria 1.4 versions Queen Bee Master Mode guide. Actually, it's for all difficulties, including Classic and Expert mode, and again for all 1.4 versions from 1.4.0 through to 1.4.3, and even for 1.4.4 when it comes out, this should still be accurate. I'm covering all classes, Summoner, Ranged, Melee, and Mage. This is a detailed guide to the boss fight, including a description of the boss, how to spawn her, when she becomes enraged, the Abeemination summon item, arena tips and strategies, armor, weapons, accessories, and buffs. I'll show you the fight itself, and I'll go over all the drops at the end. I'll explain where there are differences between difficulties or between versions. This is part of my final updated series of detailed guides on every boss in the regular game. I will be going into a lot of detail, so check the chapters and the timestamps in the description if you'd like to skip ahead. Even on Master Mode, this might be overkill, but I'll give you all the options so you can decide how far you need to go with things. The main change for this boss on 1.4 is that she can now become enraged. There are no other major changes to the boss's behavior with the 1.4 updates, only the higher Master Mode difficulty statistics if you're playing that difficulty, and some new Master Mode item drops. So, first of all, about the boss. Queen Bee is, of course, a giant bee and the first boss of the jungle in the pre-hard mode early game section of the game. She is only immune to the confused debuff, and on 1.4.1 or later she's also immune to poison, so she also inflicts poison on all those versions. She uses 3 distinct attack patterns. The one is that she will line up to the player off to one side and charge horizontally at you 3 times. Another is that she hovers overhead, spawning bees, firing out bees. In Expert and Master Mode, some of those will be larger bees. She will, the third one, alternately swoop at the player and then hover above, rapidly firing poisonous stingers. So line up to the side and charge, hover over, shooting out bees, and swooping above, firing stingers rapidly. Those are the 3 attacks. Get used to them if you want to succeed here. In Expert and Master Mode, she charges and alternates attacks more frequently as she takes more damage. So as her health gets lower, she will switch up those attacks and charge a few more times. She also has more health and higher defense and does more damage and inflicts more or longer poison effects on Expert and Master Mode as well. Defeating her allows the Witch Doctor NPC to spawn if there's a valid house available for the Witch Doctor to move into. Defeating her is not necessary to advance the game, but the loot that she drops is very useful. So it is necessary on 1.4.0 and earlier versions to defeat her to really play as a full summoner in pre-hard mode. There are other options that have been added in 1.4.1 and later versions for summoners to play as a summoner before defeating the Queen Bee. It's also helpful to defeat this boss for melee players since the Witch Doctor sells the imbuing station, which allows you to craft flasks, and she does have a chance to drop very good weapons for maged and ranged players as well. So for all classes, it is useful to defeat the boss. Now, in terms of spawning the boss, the Queen Bee will only spawn in the jungle and should be fought in the underground jungle. Teleporting away or leaving the area will not cause her to despawn. She will actually follow you, unlike most bosses. Since the 1.4 update, if you leave the jungle or are too far away from enough jungle blocks, she will become enraged, unlike earlier versions of the game. So when she becomes enraged, she will move and attack much faster and become much harder to defeat. Even on the surface of the jungle, she can become enraged, so it's best to fight her underground. Queen Bee normally spawns after destroying the larva found in a hive in the underground jungle. You'll see them because they're orange. And, so you dig your way into the hive, destroy the larva. Any tool or weapon, including projectiles, can destroy that larva, so be very careful. You may not even see the larva there first. It is very easy to destroy them accidentally, like a pot, and it is possible to summon more than one Queen Bee. She can also be summoned using the Abeemination boss summoning item. It will only work in the jungle. It is crafted from 5 honey blocks, 1 stinger, 5 hive blocks, and 1 bottled honey. You can craft that one anywhere. You don't have to go anywhere particular to craft that. It's by hand. Honey blocks are found or crafted by mixing honey and water, so anywhere where honey and water meet, you'll find honey blocks, and you can pour either one onto the other to create honey blocks. Bottled honey is crafted from an empty bottle when you are standing in or near honey. In terms of setting up an arena and strategies, as always, mobility is the key, so build some long platforms and ensure your ability to move vertically. Depending on the gear you have available, you may be able to jump high enough, or you can build some stairs to help you move vertically, or even use a grappling hook. One of the better options is to turn one of those large hives in the underground jungle into one big arena. Any large open area in the underground jungle will work, but it's best if it's enclosed to help avoid additional enemy spawns. A campfire, heart lantern, gnome, bass statue, sunflowers can all help. A small pool of honey to dip in occasionally also helps, or if you're in the hive, you can dip into the honey that's in the bottom of it, and that will give you a nice health regeneration boost for a little while, so you just do it once in a while. A star in the bottle will, of course, help magic users with a mana regeneration boost. Buffs from Sharpening Station for melee, or the ammo box for ranged players are also useful. The buff from the slice of cake that you get from the party girl during a party is also useful, but it is short-lived, so you may want to keep the slice of cake nearby if you want to rely on that. Placing only jungle torches in the area will help boost your luck value, which you can't actually see what your luck value is exactly, but if you place only jungle torches in the area, that will help your luck. You can even use luck potions, and luck will help tilt the damage calculations in your favor. You'll take less damage and do more damage. This is a good reason to take on the Torch God mini event as early in the game as possible, because then you will automatically place the right type of torches for where you are. You definitely want to have as much health as possible available before taking on the fight. You can get up to 400 health using life crystals alone. Learning to recognize those 3 different types of attack that I mentioned in the previous section will help you dodge and counter them. Since she's only immune to confused and poison, hitting her with any other debuffs will help. Anything that inflicts fire or frostburn, for instance, will be a good option at this point in the game. In terms of armor, gold, platinum, or class-specific armor is recommended. It is still possible to take on this fight with silver or tungsten armor. In Crimson Worlds, you also have the Crimson armor, which is not class-specific, but is also a great choice. It's generally going to be best, of course, to use a fully matched armor set to get the set bonuses. You can use Spelunker potions if you need to find more ore. If you are doing a class-specific melee, a class-specific playthrough, or you're ready to specialize, there are now more options for class-specific armor. Mages can use a magic robe and a magic hat, or meteorite armor, or jungle armor. All of those are available by this point. The diamond robe is the best of the gem robes, followed by the amber and ruby robes. The gypsy, aka now mystic robe, since 1.4.1 it was renamed. That is also a good choice for a robe, mystic robe. Even with a magic robe and either of the magic hats, the meteor or jungle pants will still give you extra boosts. It's ultimately a bit of a trade-off between damage, defense, and mana for the different magic sets. Ranged players at this point, unless you've defeated Skeletron already, your only specific armor option is the fossil armor, which is crafted using sturdy fossils from the underground desert. Summoners, before defeating Queen Bee on 1.4.0, you don't have any summoner specific armor, but on 1.4.1 or later, you can craft the Flinx coat and Flinx staff using Flinx fur from Flinxes in the underground snow biome. The Flinx coat only takes up the shirt slot, so you can use another headpiece and another set of leggings. I would recommend actually using the jungle headpiece and leggings. By this point, you're in the jungle anyway, and you can gather the materials, and that'll allow you to use magic weapons along with your summoner stuff. Also on 1.4.1 and later, summoners by this point have the option of going to the underworld and crafting the obsidian armor, which is going to be a more powerful set than the Flinx set. So if you're willing to go to those lengths, the obsidian armor is going to be your best bet. In Corruption Worlds, melee players have the option of using the shadow armor. Otherwise, the main option for melee players at this point is to go to some great lengths as well and get the molten armor from Underworld Ingredients. You can still stick with the earlier non-class armor if you want to as well. It depends on how dedicated you are to your class, let's say. In terms of weapons, overall, I would say the easiest option is to use the best bow you can get. At this point, you can get ideally the Demon, Tendon, or even the Molten bow. Frostburn arrows are my personal choice due to their debuff. They do a bunch of extra damage because they'll give her that Frostburn. Although Jester's arrows are going to be a lot easier to aim, so a lot of people will go with Jester's arrows because you might hit more shots that way. If you decide to take on Skeletron first, dungeon and underworld weapons will be strong options. There's lots of choices there from the dungeon and the underworld, but I'm going to focus here on weapons that are available before taking on Skeletron because I like to take on Queen Bee before Skeletron and use the bee weapons against Skeletron, especially Expert and Master Mode. In terms of magic weapons, a gem staff, particularly the diamond, ruby, or amber staves, are still a reasonable choice actually for this fight. In fact, that's what I'm going to show you myself using. If you're in a Crimson world, the Crimson Rod and its cloud can be quite helpful as an extra if you manage to get it. You can just place that cloud for extra damage. The Vile Thorn in Corruption worlds can help you to clear out the bees, but it's going to be kind of hard to hit the Queen Bee herself with. It is possible to get the Demon Scythe from the Underworld before fighting Skeletron. It's a powerful option. The Demon Scythe, very, very powerful, but it's going to be hard to get. The Space Gun is also available by this point, and it is quite viable, particularly with the Meteor Armor. If you're lucky enough to get the Gray Zappinator from the Traveling Merchant, that's going to be even better. Again, combines perfectly with the Meteor Armor. In terms of melee weapons, the Thorn Chakram will be one of the better choices since it'll bounce off the walls, so you can basically just continually fire that around and hit her repeatedly. The Flamerang is also a great choice if you can gather the materials. Again, debuffs like lighting her on fire are going to be great. The Blade of Grass can work well, although it's going to be particularly a little bit difficult to hit her with it. The Fiery Greatsword is even a somewhat better choice if you like swords, particularly on 1.4.1 and later, where she's immune to poison. Fiery Greatsword will light her on fire, and actually some of those debuffs like I think it's called Hellfire since then, it's stronger, as is the case with Frostburn as well. Swords can certainly be useful to clear the bees, even if you have trouble hitting the Queen Bee herself with them. The Ball of Hurt and the Meatball Flails will work well. Again, if you've gotten into the dungeon or the underworld, potentially you can get even better ones, but flails are going to be good for clearing bees when they're just spinning, when you just hold down attack, and they're pretty effective as weapons as well to hit the boss. A good yo-yo, such as the Amazon or the Code 1, ideally with a counterweight and a string, can work nicely for this fight as well. In terms of ranged weapons, again, a good bow with Frostburn arrows is one of the best options, but many other options can also work. Guns can work well for this fight, but different guns may be better depending on the difficulty that you're playing on. The Mini Shark is great on classic difficulty, but it's going to be a little bit less effective on expert or master mode because of her higher defense. The Boomstick, Undertaker, and the Musket can all do the job as well. If you are on 1.4.0, you can actually get the Quad Barrel Shotgun by this point, which is a great choice, but you'll have to defeat Skeletron on the later versions before you can get that. Silver or tungsten bullets are going to help to do some extra damage if you are using bullet-based guns. Molotovs can also work nicely if you have all the ingredients to make them. Poison knives, although she is immune to poison on most versions, poison knives still do a little extra damage, so they can still work. Bone javelins made from sturdy fossils are a good option due to the debuff that they inflict. They'll kind of stick into her and continually inflict damage. Very useful. The star cannon, of course, is great if you have plenty of stars. Personally, though, I would save the star cannon for Skeletron and the Wall of Flesh, where you're going to need it a little more. So that's up to you, depending how much time you want to spend gathering stars as well. In terms of summoner weapons, by this point you can get the Leather Whip, or even better, the Snapthorn Whip, which will certainly help. Again, if you defeated Skeletron, you can get the, what's it called, Spinal Tap, but that's only 1.4.1 and later. If you make it down to the Underworld and mine some Hellstone and Obsidian, the Imp Staff may be the best choice as far as minions. If not, the Vampire Frog Staff might be the next best choice. The Slime Staff, or on 1.4.1 and later, the Flink Staff will also be decent alternatives. I would not recommend the Finch Staff and the 1.4.3 added Abigail's Flower. Those probably won't be very effective for this fight. In terms of accessories and buffs, a Bezoar will be very helpful for negating the poison that some of her attacks can inflict on you. Other accessories include any double jump bottles, Cloud in a bottle, Sandstorm in a bottle is probably the best one, Tsunami in a bottle, any of those will work. Band of Regeneration, Shark Tooth Necklace, fast running and or jumping boots, ideally upgraded ones like the Frost Spark boots or the Amphibian boots are going to be good options. Fledgling wings and or a balloon or its derivatives. You can combine a shiny red balloon with any of those double jump bottles as well at a Tinkerer's Workshop. Any of those things are going to help you with your vertical dodging. On 1.4.3 and later, the Magiluminescence was added, and it will make a big difference in your movement speed as well as provide you some light. If you're playing Expert or Master Mode, the Shield of Cthulhu gives you a nice horizontal dodge attack. If you time it really well, you can even negate her charges with it. I'm not so good at that personally. The Worm Scarf or the Brain of Confusion are also available on Expert and Master Mode and will be very helpful for reducing damage. Mages may want to consider Celestial Cuffs, a Mana Flower, and or a Mana Regeneration Band. Melee players and on 1.4.1 and later summoners may also want the Feral Claws. Melee players may also want the Magma Stone. Anything with a warding modifier or even armored is worth equipping for extra defense if you've got some extra accessory slots at this point in the game. Menacing or lucky accessories can also help to boost damage output and end the fight more quickly. Ideally, you want to reforge your accessories to get whatever modifiers you're going for. Warding is going to give you extra defense. Menacing or lucky will increase your damage output. Food and buff potions will certainly help as well. Buff potions such as Iron Skin, Regeneration, Swiftness, and so on. Of course, you should have health potions. Regular health potions are better than lesser health potions. You can also fish in the honey to get honey fin, and those are even better than regular health potions. Restoration potions are also a good option due to a lower cooldown between uses. Magic users will definitely want to have some mana potions on hand. Magic users will also want magic power and mana regeneration potions, highly recommended as well. Those who are using bows should use archery potions. Summoners can use summoning potions. That'll require a little fishing in the underground jungle. Check out my potions guide if you want full details and recipes for buff potions and more. There's a whole section on buff potions in there. In Expert and Master Mode, you will need some kind of food for the well-fed buff. Ideally, you want the highest tier. There are 3 different levels now: minor, medium, and major stat improvements. Food will help you to move faster, regenerate health faster, and more. It does work even on Classic as well, but you basically take a penalty on Expert and Master Mode if you don't have food. The Slice of Cake does not count as food, but it does give a separate additional speed boost, so it's definitely worth using. The Sharpening Station will be a good help for melee players. The Ammo Box, again, will be great for saving ammo for rangers. And again, dipping into honey occasionally will help your regeneration. Just make sure you don't get stuck in the honey. All right, so here we are in the underground jungle. I've zoomed back out. I have hollowed out this hive and set it all up. I've got my campfires. I've got my heart lanterns. I've got my stars in bottles, a couple of them even. Bass statues placed on either side. And I did bring along my slice of cake. So you can see, just applied that, got that buff. So without further ado, I've prepared a couple of Abeeminations here. So use that, apply my buffs quickly. And I am just doing this as a mage. I have reforged all my accessories to warding to give myself a lot more defense than I would otherwise have as a mage. I've got all kinds of buffs, all kinds of potions. This is Master Mode, actual Master Mode. It's not even Master difficulty in Journey Mode or anything. This is actual Master Mode. You can see those. She's now done all 3 of the attacks I was talking about, so you just have to be prepared. When she moves downwards, and usually to one side, she'll do that charge thing. And yeah, it's usually 3 times, but as her health goes down, eventually, if you're on Expert or Master, it can go as many as 6 times. Yeah, you can see that it's kind of a telltale thing when she starts moving down to one side. And then she'll come back, and she'll hang out, and she'll fire either bees or stingers. You can see that swooping thing when she's doing the stingers. My aim's not even good. Anyway, yeah, and she'll switch somewhat suddenly. You can notice when I move vertically, she'll actually kind of hesitate a little because she's trying to line me up sideways. I didn't even bother with Celestial Magnet, or I have a Celestial Magnet, and I have a what do you call it? Mana Flower. Didn't even use them. Of course, the way I'm kitted out, I have a lot of mana, so I do also have mana potions if I need them. As you can see, I haven't. The good thing about the staves, I mean, you can see this is taking a long time using the, I'm using the diamond stave, so I'm at least using the best of those. But, oh yeah, that was 4 or 5 as her health gets down. But they do actually pierce ones, so they will go through the bees. But yeah, I didn't even get, this is a Crimson World, I didn't even get the Crimson Rod. I haven't got any other magic weapons yet, any better magic weapons. Does the job, if you're prepared. You have to watch out for the bees a little. She's probably going to start charging at me even more and faster anytime now. Yep, there we go. As if on cue. It's almost done, almost done. Oh, yeah, she's firing those a little faster too, you can see. But yeah, I mean, this is mage and very low defense, and yet my health is barely dipped because I'm very well prepared. Like, excessively prepared, some might say, but there you go. Yeah, the bass statues give me some extra defense and all that as well. You can see I have 52 defense as a mage, wearing Magic Hat, Diamond Robe, and Jungle Pants. So that's also thanks to, besides the bass statue, giving me 5, all these warding accessories, 4 defense for each one. And those are the accessories I use: Brain of Confusion, Sharkron Balloon, Bezoar to avoid the poison, Magiluminescence for a little speed, Band of Regeneration, and Amphibian Boots for that nice vertical dodge. And actually, yeah, with the balloon as well, just in case the first one doesn't work, you know. I do have a bunch of other stuff. These are not active. These are other things that I had ready in case. Anyway, let's talk about the drops. So the queen bee always drops 5 to 15 bottled honey instead of healing potions. Most bosses drop healing potions. She drops bottled honey. She also drops 16 to 26 bee wax. Bee wax is used to craft bee armor, the hornet staff, and additional bee nades. She might drop slightly more on expert and master mode. She always drops one of the 3 weapons, either the bee gun, the beekeeper's sword, or the bee's knees bow. The bee gun is a magic weapon, which is very powerful against Skeletron and the Wall of Flesh. The bee's knees is also very strong against those bosses when used with wooden arrows. The bee's knees, when you use it with wooden arrows, it turns them into bees when they hit. It does work with other arrows, it just doesn't have that effect. It's a 1 in 10 chance that she will drop the queen bee trophy. It's a 1 in 7 chance that she'll drop the queen bee mask. 1 in 3 chance to drop the honeycomb accessory. 1 in 15 to drop the nectar, which summons the baby hornet pet. 75%, 3 in 4 chance to drop 10 to 30 bee nades. 1/3 chance to drop the hive wand. A 1 in 9 chance to drop each piece of the bee vanity outfit. 1 in 20 chance that she will drop the honeyed goggles, which summon the flying bee mount. Those are all on classic difficulty. In expert or master mode, she always drops a treasure bag, which always contains the Hive Pack item, and a lot of those other items will be in the treasure bag instead. When equipped, about half of player-created bees spawn as larger, faster, more powerful versions, so the Hive Pack you want to use with those bee weapons, particularly the bee gun, the bee's knees bow, and the bee nades. She will also drop some additional gold coins in the treasure bag. She will drop, she's pretty good for farming money actually, even on classic difficulty. I think she drops 5 gold coins, but on expert and master it's 12 gold coins and 50 silver, and then some more in the bag as well, so it's pretty worthwhile if you need some cash. There are also some slight difficulty change, or some slight changes in the odds of some of the drops on expert and master mode, only a few of them. The Hive Wand will always be dropped in the treasure bag instead of a chance to drop. She will always drop one of the 3 pieces of the bee vanity outfit instead of a 1 in 9 chance for each one. And the honeyed goggles become a 1 in 9 chance instead of 1 in 20. So you have a much better chance of getting those items on expert and master. In in master mode, she also always drops the queen bee relic, and it's a 1 in 4 chance on master mode that she will drop the sparkling honey pet item, which summons a cute little master mode exclusive honeybee pet. So let's see what I got here. Of course, I got that queen bee relic, I got some bottled honey, 9 of those, and I got the treasure bag. So what's in the treasure bag? I got the bee gun. Sweet, a zealous bee gun at that. That's a nice one. And of course the Hive Pack as expected, the Hive Wand as expected. I got the bee hat this time. And I got 13 bee nades and 24 bee wax. So there you go. That's the queen bee boss fight and the whole thing. So I hope you liked the video. Thanks for watching. Please subscribe if you haven't already. And I'll see you next time. Bye for now.